Welcome back to another episode of Opinionated Facts. I'm your host Drizzle, and today we got my dog in the building. Been on here multiple times. OG YaYa, how you doing, bro?
My brother, I'm doing great, man. Blessed, man. How about yourself?
Can't complain, can't complain. New year, you brought in the new year good. How was it?
Man, came in good with the family, man. Spent time with the family, didn't do too much. And like I said, man, just coming in prayed up, you know what I'm saying? Positive,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And a strong game plan, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Just to hit the ground running.
So what's been going on since the last time we we sat down and we spoke? I think last time uh you told me y'all was about to get ready to go on tour, like right before.
Yeah, I think that was was that the that was the Millennium Tour, the one that had the franchise boys on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I went on uh my brother Sight Mike. He went on every date with my bros with the franchise boys, but I went on probably about because I was running around with my daughter as well. That's when I took her to New York and got her agent. You know what I'm saying? Got her locked in with her agent. The acting and singing side, where she done took that to another level since me and you
Mm-hmm.
talked, and but we'll speak on that. But that was the Millennium Tour with was popped around on about 8 or 9 dates with the franchise boys. Man, that was a great experience. You know what I mean? Me and Parlay go back, you know what I mean, and Pimpin' we go back. And but me and Parlay like brothers, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful for my brother for allowing me to, let alone everything that we've been doing. And, I've been on a lot of different tours, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like with Young Jeezy, T.I. now, you know what I mean? Like pulling up, you know what I mean? Where they just telling us to pull up, you know what I'm saying? But, actually being in the midst of it, seeing
Mm-hmm.
the real inner workings of it, you know what I mean? That was dope, you know what I'm saying? So I was thankful for my brothers now for allowing me to even get that experience, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, you said you went on the Millennium Tour, and it was the Franchise Boys and a bunch of other acts. I want to ask because I think nowadays people forget that there is like rapping isn't something that started 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it, I know some people act like this when they discovered it, but it's always been around.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think a lot of people lose the sight of it's not a sprint; it's literally a marathon, right? How important do you think it is for these legacy acts? And we've seen it with the verses that they have with the Cash Money and the No Limit. Like how important do you think it is for these legacy acts to not necessarily stay relevant, I guess sound wise, but stay relevant on the scene wise and kind of give people a better outlook of what it could be if they stick with it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. Even my brother Boosie. But yeah, man, like one thing that I learned real quick, you know what I'm saying? With that longevity, for one, that's the key and the goal, hopefully. Some people just want to try to get in and get their bag and get out and get into other things, but that's fine. People do that in sports, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like for the longevity part, I think, when you're making good music, you know what I'm saying, and it's timeless music, and you got a real core audience, a real core fan base, that always shows and proves. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? For these legacy acts. Because that's how they still able to drop music or do tours and do numbers. You know what I'm saying? Consistently like this 20 years later, you know what I mean? 15, 20 years later. And, like I said, it just comes down to you got to make that music, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you make that good music and you got some hits, hey man, like I said, even if it was a hit when we came out when we was my bad about that, when we was in our 20s. I mean, like, hey, we still go to a concert to this day if that artist do a show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we remember them, it was one of our favorites and they had good, you know what I mean, hits. You know what I'm saying? Like, it comes down to the hits, man. You got good music, you know what I mean? Then, you know, and nowadays with the social media, you just staying active and present, you know what I'm saying? You know, you can keep your thing going for a long time. Just like any other genre, you know, because in hip hop, you know, and they've been a topic over the past few years. Like, stop trying to cut people short at 30 or 40 and calling them old, or like because they 30 or 40, you know what I mean? They can't rap no more, or you know what I mean? But we don't do that to any other genre,
Right,
you know what
right.
I mean? So, you know, I think, you know, as long as you're there staying active and making good music and been making good music, you know what I mean? Like I said, them acts like the Franchise Boys and, you know, Lil Scrappy now and Bow Wows and Boosies and, you know, it's countless other names, you know what I mean, can keep on going, you
Yeah.
know. B2K now, who's gonna be on the new tour, that tour they all got coming on, like Waka Flocka. Like, when you got hits, man, like, you know, and they good timeless hits too. It's not nothing that's just even just the lyrics or the hooks. It's just like it's catered to a certain demographic. You know what I mean? Just so to say, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's something that everybody feel like they can be accepted of or part of or feel. You know what I mean?
Now, do you think that's more so because I get where you're coming from with that because you look at other genres, they're great acts. They're just always great. It doesn't matter if they've stopped putting out new music 20 years ago. They're performing. They're not just doing like small. They're doing massive world tours still. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They're able to do that still.
Mm.
Do you think that the I guess the current temperament of where rap and hip hop is, you think that's because the label was putting so much into it that they were like, we want to basically treat you like a running back. We're going to just run you down, run you down, run you down. And then when it's time for you to re up for your second contract, we like, you bad. You know what I'm saying? We done got so much from you already in your first deal, your
Mm-hmm.
earlier years, that by the time you 32, 34, close to 40, it's like we ain't got no use for you. We
Yeah,
got
we
a
feel
we
we
got an
want.
18-year-old,
Yeah, we
you know what I'm
want what's
saying?
hot and new and next.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So do you think that's because of the labels more so doing that, or do you think that's
I
just
think
how it
it's
is?
probably a mixture of both. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Because, you know, our culture, like I said, this turned 50 years old. I mean, the rap gang, you know what I mean? Like, hip
yeah,
hop, a couple years ago. So, you know, it's the youngest genre, you know what I mean? But it's like, you know, I think, like I said, I think we getting over that. I think they getting over that hump now. You know what I mean? But because fans grow and fans still love to listen to their favorite artists. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So that's why I just, you know, I don't know, man. I think, like I said, I think we're finally getting over the hump, but I think it's like you said, it's a mixture of both. You know what I mean? The label just is, like you said, looking at it like how they do them running backs. You know what I mean? We got the money out of them. Let's go to the next fresh, young, hip, young thing. You know what I mean? Because in
yeah.
their mind, that's all they figured it worked.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But now they see it's different. Like I said, you see older artists getting new deals
Yeah,
these days. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, I think maybe that's where the business was so young. I
yeah.
think you could have said both. The business pushing it like that, and then fans not really understanding, and so they just going with the flow.
Mm,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
okay. Now, I know in the past we've had conversations about you being up here and then you going down in Atlanta for the early 2000s and you being down there during the boom of the BMF era. So I gotta ask, what 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 do you think is the difference between the the reception and the current state from when Meech got home, and then now looking at right now when Maxis came home? Because it's you can say that people expected and people would have thought that how it looks for Max is that it would have looked like that for Meech,
Mm-hmm.
and Meech is like the polar opposite. There was a bunch of negative things around it. It was a bunch of people getting involved and sticking their nose in this and sticking their nose in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think is the main difference and why?
Um, and like Man, like honestly, I think it's just with all that negativity that came out around Meech. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff, even with the stuff where they were saying that, you know, you had like people like Blue Da Vinci, of course, was you know, BMF.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? BMF artists, all that, who was right there in the mix, all of this saying and putting on phone. You know, the guy Cuffy, if I'm not mistaken, was his name, from St. Louis, who said that Meech set him up from prison. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and allegedly, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm just speaking on what I, you know, seen on other videos, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
on YouTube and stuff. So, like I said, but I think all of that negativity that was pumped, you know what I mean? And then once 50 got a hold of it.
Turned into something
You know what
else.
I mean? And 50, like, you on some snitch, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then this all the stuff 50 was going through with his son, you know what I mean? I think, you know, that just kind of put a dagger into the welcome home Big Meech,
Mm-hmm.
you know, spectacle that everybody thought we was going to get. You know what I mean? So, you know, and then as far as Max B, um, you know, Max B got some strong people behind him. He got French Montana now behind him. He got some very strong, rich,
Yeah.
powerful people behind him as well right now. And just again, just me seeing on the internet, like on YouTube here in the past couple of days, and Max B actually just did an interview on what's that guy's name? A guy from New York's podcast, uh, that
I
Pistol
know.
Pete,
I know you
that
talking about.
rocks with Fat
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah. I know you talking
You know
about.
what
I know what you're talking
I'm
about. Yeah.
saying? Saying basically like he don't care that people, you know what I mean? He was like, I did 20 years, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you got his brother saying that he did rat on him, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Max B's own brother, you know what I mean? So, you know, you know what I mean? So all of that's starting to come out
Yeah.
with Max B. So I don't know how much of effect that's gonna have on,
Yeah.
you know
Down
what I
the line.
mean,
Down the
on
line.
his
Yeah.
parade, because of course, you know, he just came home, what, not even 2 months
Yeah. Like a
yet.
month and a half. Yeah. If
So
that.
I don't know how much, but I've been seeing, like, you know, he's doing interviews, speaking out about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like it is what it is. And his brother now speaking out, you know, 50 now and other people going in. So I don't know, man. Like I said, I just think when that negativity starts getting surrounded and certain people on blogs and people like get behind and start pushing and pushing and pushing it. Like, hey, man, you know how the internet is. You know what I'm saying? They'll shut you down real
Yeah,
quick.
all it takes is one.
Man, all it takes is
All it
one.
takes is one.
That's it.
now, now, as far as what you got going on now, like what do you think is going on with the? I want to ask you about the Kentucky landscape. As far as I know, you got connections in Atlanta and things like that, and you travel.
Mm.
But I just want to speak on home right now. What is your? I would say, what is your biggest praise for the music scene in Kentucky right now? And then also, I want to know what is your biggest gripe.
Man, I just think that, you know what I mean? Like, I see it's a lot. I mean, Kentucky has so much talent, bro. From rappers to singers to um, country artists. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, of course, in any major state, you know what I'm saying? They got talent all over in country towns. You got to get to the bigger cities, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To kind of, you know, to network, you know what I'm saying, and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Then above that, getting to the labels, you know what I mean? Certain places, you got to get to them places. But I think that, like I said, there's so much talent, you know what I mean? And you see, like, because there's a lot of, like, I'm peeping people getting record deals and stuff, like country girls just rapping, like girls just from the eastern Kentucky
Yeah.
who got like millions of views and followers, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, you know, R&B, I mean, country acts, you know what I mean, from, you know, these side country towns getting deals, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I just don't think that we have the right infrastructure, man, in the state of Kentucky to support. And maybe because it's new, you know what I mean, these artists, you know what I'm saying, that's up and coming and getting deals and stuff. Like even with Darwin, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, I mean, for a kid to have a deal, you know what I'm saying? with APG, who Young Boy signed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he has a major deal. Like, you know, he got it at 15. They wanted to wait till he got graduated from high school, got 18 and all of that stuff. To really, you know, like start, you know, having to move around, you know, let him get at the legal age, of course, you know what I'm saying? I just like DJs is like people just don't like they see the numbers, they see it out there. Everybody says they see it, but okay, you a DJ, why you not playing this music in the club? You know what I mean? If you on the radio, why you not playing it? You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, when I blew up, me and my team blew up John Jeezy in Atlanta, you know what I mean? Yeah, once we went so crazy in the streets with the mixtapes we was dropping with DJ Scream and Hood Rich and DJ Swamp Izzo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The same Swamp Izzo that's with Playboy Cardi. Shout out my brother Swamp. Shout out to Swamp. Shout out DJ Scream. Shout out to all my Hood Rich brothers. But like, yo, we started going so crazy, like DJs is calling us, yo, bro, I need that record. I need that record. Y'all boys pull up to the club. We spend that tonight. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They getting behind the motion because it's going to overflow and benefit everybody. But I'm like, damn, like, I done been reaching out to DJs and all that just alone myself with Darwin. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Y'all say y'all going to do, but ain't nobody like, bro, what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, because if it even like that, the more higher that goes, you're gonna be a part of it. Like, you're not gonna forget that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's just what I know from Atlanta coming up with, you know what I mean? Some of the big DJ squads that help and jump out and reach these artists is coming up or got deals, you know what I'm saying? And on they come up still. And, you know what I mean? Using their resources to help in any way, because again, it overflow and benefit everybody.
All right. So basically, in which I don't disagree. I do think it does kind of start at the ground level. I do think that the essence of the DJ being important kind of like it lost that essence. There was a period of time where the DJ was the one breaking the records. The DJ was the person who was gonna put you on to the new and the latest and the hottest. And now it's like I can just open up Spotify and Spotify is telling me that these are the 10 hottest songs.
And when I speak
today.
on DJ, I'm just talking about like ones that's in the club playing the
For
records,
sure.
and the ones that's on the
On the
radio
radio.
station.
On the radio.
Because radio, even though when people, if they think they don't, if you're in the music business and think radio don't mean nothing,
You do.
yeah, you're lost.
You do.
Trust me, still means everything right now. And I'm tapped in with program directors from B96.5, you know what I mean? 2-3 other stations, you know what I mean? Even crossover stations in Louisville, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I get mad major support from Louisville, but I helped the artists get a deal from Louisville in 2006. My partner, KD. You know what I mean? I did a lot of concerts, you know what I'm saying? Booked a lot of major shows for clubs and people, you know what I mean, that people don't know. I mean, but I don't care. I was doing my thing behind the scene and getting my check. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm just, you know, it's just funny to me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, you know, like I said, there's a lot of talent out here, and we got to get a better support system. You know what I'm saying? If we really want to get this talent, you know what I mean, that's coming up out of here. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we can put as much as we want on the internet. You know what I mean? But we still got to be having shows. You know what I mean? We still got to be having music getting played, you know what I'm saying, in the clubs, you know what I'm saying, in the radios, you know what I'm saying, on the mix shows. Like, you know, we still got to have that interaction going on.
Okay. All right. So now, outside of working with Darwin, are there any other artists that you're also or producers or engineers?
Yeah, my little cousin in there right now, he's a producer, engineer, artist. He's super cold too. Thaddeus Mays go by TC Beats. You know what I'm saying? But him and Darwin, they in there cooking up right now as we speak. You know what I'm saying? So, but he got a project that he been working on. Gonna be dropping that soon. He just turned 21. But I mean, he grew up in a church. You know what I'm saying? Taught himself how to play drums just watching our uncle play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Growing up in the church, and you know, from there, just, you know what I mean, been locked in that studio since he was 14. And then, you know what I mean, he's just, he's definitely a musical genius, you know what I'm saying? And then, yeah, like I said, I'm working with him. He a producer and an artist. Got my daughter, Jayla Yeast. Like I said, she's in the process. She wants to finish up school first, but she's acting and singing. You know what I'm saying? So, she do orchestra, theater stuff, um, musicals and things like that. So, I work with Q-Biz. Q-Biz is family down the line. So I'm always going to work and help support my brother. You know what I mean? He got his situation going on with Boosie.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, man. Them is the main core ones that I'm just working with directly right this second. You know what I'm saying? As far as just talking with daily and handling business with. But, I got other artists that's reaching out to me, you know what I mean, and discussing possible management, you know what I mean, or consulting, you know what I mean, so.
Okay. All right. So that kind of leads me into my next question, bro, because like I said, you've been around for a long time. You do a lot. You've done a lot. What exactly would you say your title is?
And it's crazy because, it's one of my uncles, man. He was a very rich man on my mother's side. And he told me one time, he's like, titles don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because people will start throwing all this title, man. But what you doing? What you do? Like, bro, my resume go all the way back before I was 18. When I was rapping and DJing high school parties and parties in the community, you know what I mean? When I was 16, 17, 18 years old, you know what I'm saying? Get money. And then, once I moved to Atlanta at 18, my brother, St. Mike, you know what I mean? They had a situation going on with a label, the team he was with at the time. Once I moved to Atlanta at 18 and got into this music business for real, you know what I'm saying? Bro, like, management. I fell into management by default. I moved to Atlanta as a rapper and DJ. You know what I mean? But the people we hanging out with on a regular is people like Clay Evans, God rest his soul. Anybody know who Clay Evans is? You know what I mean? It was the president of Grand Hustle. That was T.I.'s personal manager. You know what I'm saying? He's the one who found Lil Duval, discovered DC Young Fly. You know what I mean? It was all they managers. Like, that was me and Sykes' brother. You know what I'm saying? And he taught us so much. He took us up under his wing, you know what I mean? And taught us so much about the music business and management. You know what I mean? Like, I was running with Abu. You know what I mean? That's Akon's brother. Abu got his own label deal with Atlantic. You know what I mean? Like, he, Four Bats, Ian, all of them is his artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, we came up, you know what I mean? Like, running around together. You know what I mean? I learned from bro. Like, me running around with Coach K, you know what I'm saying, when he was managing Young Jeezy. You know what I mean? Like, Coach K went on to QCP, you know what I mean? To QC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we doing business with these people. You know what I mean? I did a few shows with Young Jeezy. Like, working with DJ Scream, Hood Rich Rip. You know what I mean? Like, all the artists they done worked with, A&R with, you know what I mean? Managed, you know what I'm saying? So I'm worked around and a lot of major managers in the music business, and I'm leaving out a few names, you know what I'm saying, that, just was like, man, you might as well just do this and that, you know what I mean? Because, like, when I was running with Syke, when he was rapping, I mean, it was just us two. I mean, so, of course, he's rapping. I handle everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And it kind of was the same way when I got to Atlanta with John Jeezy. Like, you know, bro rapping, you know what I mean? Sykes helping them write and helping them come up with music and all of that. And we back handling business, you know what I mean? We just kind of fell into the management and marketing and promoting role, you know what I mean? So, and then I started doing by being connected with all of these artists and people who became like friends. Oh, you charge this so much for a show? You know what I'm saying? Damn, how much you charge me to take it to Kentucky? What? And then we started doing shows in Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? So I went from rapping, DJing, then got kind of just fell into management, and then being around all these artists and stuff like that. We all hanging around with each other on a regular. Like, yo, how much, you know what I mean, to do a show in Kentucky? Then we, from there, you know what I mean, we started doing shows and concerts and parties in Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? So now we doing parties, you know what I'm saying? and shows. You feel me? And then, after that, it kind of led into, people starting to call us because we're around all of these people, other club owners and promoters to book artists. You know what I'm saying? So, like, my welcome home party was the Yin Yang Twins in 2003. You feel me? Here in Lexington, Kentucky. The site Mike did for me. And like I said, we've been doing parties and concerts ever since then. You know what I mean? And like I said, like even in Louisville when Bourbon Hall was called Club Live, like I was booking all them shows over there for Sam and Ron, the owners. You know what I mean? So so you put whatever title you want on, manager, promoter, booking agent. You know what I'm saying? Like like I said, road manager, assistant. Uh, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, you done it
like I said, I
all.
do it all, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. Well, like, look, I appreciate you for letting me pull up. We're gonna do this again. Um, you got any shout outs real quick?
Nah, man, for sure, for sure. It's always love, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, we definitely gonna start locking in on a regular. And just shout out to my family, shout out to my kids. Um, shout out to them, like I said, Thaddeus, Darwin, they in there working right now. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Dojo Recording Studio for allowing me to use this space. And again, like I said, shout out to all my loved ones, my family, everybody that, I'm open, you know what I mean? A lot of people be reaching out, like, however you reach out to me, social media, email, phone call, like I said, man, you come in and talking about some real business and you got a real product, you know what I mean? And you serious, like I'm open for conversation, you know what I mean? And we can see where we can go from there. You know what I mean? So, it's all positivity and love we pushing on this side, you know what I mean? So, let's get it, man. 2026.
All right, but like I said, I appreciate you for letting me pull up, bruh. And it's been another episode of Opinionated Facts, and we out.
My brother.
Peace. Yes, sir.